Hi all. Right, welcome back to Labyrinth, the War on Terror, using the two expansions. So I'm not quite sure I'm going to title this. I mean, it's called the Extended Campaign, in the Forever War scenarios. So I'll maybe title it like that, Labyrinth Extended Campaign. This will be this is part two of the playthrough anyway. I don't tend to mess about that. It's just part one, part two. I mean, I probably could sort of like break it down if I'm going to go into three different eras and three different decks, and I could say this is the base, and then you've got Awakening and Ultraman, and then Forever War. But I don't know. I'll probably not do that. So probably just call it the Extended Campaign, Part Two. Labyrinth Extended Campaign, Part Two. Right. So just about to go. I've just come straight back there. I'm not even copied the bit across. It was just the introduction. So, right, just first quick look at the operations that both sides can do. So, for us, just got both sides of this. Inside that flow chart and that, which we're not going to use anyway, right? So you've got these two player aid cards. So these are US operations. It says each US card play for operations can be used for one of the following. You can add one or two ops values to reserves. So I could just play a card and use one or two ops and put it in the reserves. And the reason you're doing that is to maybe play your second card to then get you a 3-op. Say you add two reserves with the first card, then you play a 1-op card for your second card, use your two reserves, then you've got 3-ops. Which cards are either 1, 2, or 3-ops. But you might want that 3 specifically for to do, some of them you need 3-ops, yeah? Okay, so, or you could conduct one operation in one target country with 1 to 3 ops. You may use reserves. If alert, to remove a plot, ops value must be 3. Yeah, so if I wanted to do an alert operation to remove a plot, and I only had cards, let's say I had 4 cards left and they were all 2s and 1s, then I could use one of the cards to put in the reserves. Next card to get me to 3 and carry out an alert. Right? If alert, to remove a plot, ops value must be 3. Otherwise, ops value must equal or exceed the target country's governance value. So the governance value is these are poor governance, which is 3. So I need a 3-ops card to do something in Saudi Arabia. One of the operations, I need a 3-ops card, or 3-ops again. I could use reserves, yeah. Whereas Gulf States, I would only need a 2-ops card, or I could use a 3-ops card. I could use a 3-ops card and just waste one of the points, but okay, and then however, regime change is slightly different. Regime change, you need 3-ops is the only operation that may target Islamist rule. Yeah, so in Afghanistan here, it's Islamist rule. It's not got a governance of 1, 2, or 3. You need a 3-ops card to do the operation there. Right, and then the third operation option is you could play 2 3-value cards for reassessment of US posture. No reserves allowed. That basically changes you from hard to soft or from soft to hard. It happens automatically, but you need to play both of your cards for the turn need to be 3-ops cards. You play both of them, and then that'll shift your posture. So it's painful to do it, but you might have to do it, right? So right, quickly look through I'm not going into these in too much detail, but here are your operations. A lot of ideas, which I'll just look at the purpose, right? So it improves the alignment or the governance. So you can move the governance from poor to fair to good, or you can move it from adversary to neutral to ally. yeah, it's something like that. We'll look at them in more detail when we come to them. Right, next one is also a war of ideas, but that's in a non-Muslim country, a non-US Muslim country, whereas the war of ideas, this one is in a neutral or ally Muslim country. So, in actual fact, you can't do that in an adversary Muslim country. Okay, right. These are the little things in this that you've got to watch for. So yeah, this is changing non-Muslim countries from hard to soft or from soft to hard. Again, we'll see that and how it works. And right, disrupt is to remove cells or cadre and gain prestige. So you want to remove these cells and possibly gain prestige. I think you have to have troops to be able to gain prestige. Again, we'll look at it in a minute. We'll look at it once it gets going. And then alert is the purpose of that is to block and remove a plot. And like we say, if these plots go off, bad things can happen, but even more so when there's weapons of mass destruction, it can be even worse and possibly lose the game through it. Sorry, dog. Right, I've shut the door, but she's still going to bark a bit. Okay, so, and then carrying on, deploy, that is to move troops about. Regime change, this is when, probably something we're going to have a go at early on. Islamist rule country, we want to get that changed back, and the purpose is to overthrow the Islamist rule and create it back to ally. Withdraw, remove troops from the regime change, and then reassessment. That's the one we talked about. You need 2-3 value cards to do it. And there's a thing there about winning again, how to win. Let's maybe keep that in our head. At least 12 resources at good. You can see that there's no good resources to start with. And we need to keep track of this as well. Whenever we do something, we need to move these cards about. So we've got no good resources. And the other option is at least 15 countries at fair or good. So we've got 1, 2, 3 fair at the moment. So, but you can see there's a bit to go with that. And then the other one is no sales in any countries. But that was the one that says that the solo rules aren't going to allow us a win with that, are they? So, yeah. Well, that's slightly different. Right, and then on the back of this play raid card is this is the table to roll and war ideas. Initial test when you test countries. Test for governance on certain countries, posture, prestige, and then tells you about the plots there, right? That's US things. Right, and then jihadists, although this is the bot, these are still the things it can do. And it might, like I say, whatever the bot might alter the rules slightly, cheat a little bit, maybe. We shall see anyway. So recruit is going to play cells. It needs cells in countries to be able to do a lot of other things. It could travel, move cells about, or set active cells to sleeper. While they're active, we can remove them easier, but if they're underground, it's harder to get rid of them. Plot, it can plot in a country, which its purpose is to raise funding, lower prestige, worsen governance, remove aid, change posture, or win the game via WMD in the US. Right, and then the two jihad, the two big things it can do. It can do a jihad, which worsens governance, and it will remove aid. And then the major jihad is to establish Islamist rule, which is what they'd done here before the game started, basically. I'm saying what they've done there. Maybe it was already that way. Again, maybe not saying the right things there. Okay, so they're the things it can do. But to start with, we're not going to have to think about what we are going to want to do, because it's going to be the bot that starts. And like I said, I wouldn't do, but we're on card 1 of the jihadist action phase. It's not really sequence of play. It's not, it just goes, that's the sequence of play. You know, you play the first jihadist card, you play the second jihadist card, you play the first US card, you play the second US card, you resolve the plots, that's the end of the turn. And the end of the turn, there is some things that... no, that's not the end of the turn. Sorry, that's the end of the phase. Let's get sequence of play. Sequence of play, page 7. And make sure you're telling things the right way, Grant. Sequence of play. Right, so this is on page 7. So turns in general, play proceeds through a series of turns. Right, so these are turns. Right, so what is it when we end? When it comes to the end? No, that's the end of a turn. Right, hang on. Play proceeds through a series of turns comprising alternate action phases. A turn ends and a new turn begins when each side has expended the cards it was dealt. Yeah, so it is. So we're playing through action phases and until we run out of cards. So Jihadist card 1, Jihadist card 2, US card 1, US card 2, resolve plots, then back again to the next action phase. Next Jihadist action phase until we run out of cards. When we run out of cards is an end of turn sequence that you go through as well. Okay. Yeah, in the first action phase, the Jihadist side plays 2 cards in succession from its hand. Then the US side does the same. Yeah, I didn't mention the plots though there. At the end of each US action phase, whether or not the US played any cards, resolve all plots in any countries. Yeah, okay. Oh, and that's the thing. The final US card, in any US action phase that the US side is holding 1 card, it may play it, discard it, without effect, or hold it. If the Jihadist side has expended its cards and the US side holds its final card, resolve any plots and end the turn. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we can avoid, we can hold on to a nasty card at the end and then just discard that. It's a way of getting rid of it. I mean, we could keep it for the next hand, I suppose. That might show its face. I don't know. Okay, let's get started, Grant. Let's get started. So I've got I'm going to be looking at this a lot. I'm going to go through it slowly to make sure. I do want to get things right. So. Right, let's look, and actually, first thing I'm probably going to do when I flip this card over is just to check and see. Yeah, I noticed I didn't need the... there's a few things I don't need until the next eras, basically. Right, these are all the cards that I'm going to be looking at in the first sort of phases, just to see. Right, what is the first card? So Jihadist first play. Right, so we've got Kazakh Strain. Let me just put it there and zoom in on it and let's have a look. Right, so Kazakh Strain. So it tells us that this is a Jihadist event. It says, so extremists find Cold War bug. And this is the operations points it is to. So it says, play if Central Asia has a cell and no CTR marker. I mean, that's a condition to play the card. And then if that condition, is successful, it says roll as if one operation there success. Roll as if one operation there. Success, add a WMD to the available plots. Yeeks. Right, where does the WMD come? Oh, it's that, yeah, it's the Kazakh Strain, isn't it? That's one of the WMD markers. Well, let's hope that they can't do that. Well, I don't think they can. Play if Central Asia has a cell and no CTR marker. So Central Asia is up there. So it doesn't have a cell. It would need to have a cell and no CTR. I'm not sure what the CTR marker is. But listen, there's no cell there, okay? So it can be played, all right? Now, the remove bit down the bottom there is we would remove this from the game. I think, yeah, so it doesn't just go in the discard pile, this. The thing is, we're not going to shuffle this deck up again. We're playing one deck of this, moving on to the next, Awakening, and then moving on to Forever War. So But it would matter for these certain cards. What was it? These oil price spike cards that we're going to get a card back. But anyway, this only removes if the event triggers. If they just use this for operations, it just goes into this discard pile, which is what's going to happen. Now I was talking about reading out the event. The fact this event isn't triggering, I won't bother, I don't think, because it's going to go on forever, isn't it? Maybe I should read it for myself. Yeah, it's talking about the Soviets having anthrax and the jihadists getting hold of it or something. But obviously, it's Central Asia would need to have a cell in there to be able to then get that. You can see that Central Asia is adjacent to Russia, so I'm assuming it's to do with that. Well, I mean, I suppose let's have a look at. I mean, we're not triggering the event, but if you want to understand some of these things, is that a strange light? No, it's just the way I'm looking at it. So yeah, Kazakh strain, card number 69, says the Soviets built factories near the town of Stepnogorsk in northern Kazakhstan for factory scale production of weapons grade anthrax. Work on Marburg virus occurred nearby. The event postulates that jihadists or those willing to sell to them get their hands on some of the leftovers, seed cultures, weaponized product, or just the expertise to reproduce them. So there we go. But yeah, my videos are probably going to be long. I mean, I'd like to sort of bring that into it though. I'd like to bring the events in and tell the story, you know. But I mean, this isn't happening yet. It's too early in the game. You can see that if this had came up later. And the thing with this event is that if we were playing a 3-deck game and just playing the base game, this would just go in the discard pile just now. After the first deck is run out, we would reshuffle up the deck again, and this card then would maybe trigger as an event the next time, and that's why you remove it after it's triggered once. It's not going to do it more than once. And by the way, I'm just thinking, look, there's 120 cards. We've only took 18 of the cards out of there. This is going to be a long session, isn't it? It's going to be a long session. I maybe shouldn't be starting to read through the cards, but as long as I'm enjoying myself. I had a comment from somebody that just finished watching the Other Side of the Hill videos, and he said he watched them all. I'm like, wow, yeah, like good on you for watching through all of that. It's a long watch, but if it interests, and I don't think he's got the game. He says it looks like a good game in the end. It was like, so he's not even got the game. I'm like, well, okay, but you know what? If it's if you are getting something out of it as well, that's good. It's right. So what we're going to do with this card, right? So now we look at and one other thing I wanted to look at the event table instructions. So it's card number 69, and you can see that on this, there's no need to be looking in here for what it. You're only going to look in here if there's some issue with the card. But it's worthwhile having a glance here first. But if I was triggering the event, I would look here. We're not triggering the event anyway, because we can't. So what are we doing? Well, let's zoom out and then look at this. So, right, so we start here. We're going to go through this flowchart. And it's going to do a lot of the same things at points, and some of it should start becoming pretty straightforward, but I'll probably still go through it all slowly and whatever. Right, so we start here. So it says, is it a playable non-US event? Well, it's a non-US event, yes, but it's not playable, right? So no. So is a major jihad success at poor possible? So we look out there, I mean, let's see what we need for a major jihad. And I know I'm getting, I think the last playthrough I done went through everything, and so that somebody not played this game before, it probably did really help them. It wasn't my intention to start doing that with my playthroughs, but I've started heading that way, haven't I? I've started going that direction. Whereas mainly my purpose was to play the game, read the rule myself, not bother you with it, and just say, right, I'm going to do a major jihad here, because I can, Hopefully I'll just show these things on a few occasions and then just say, right, a major jihad is able to do that here, because we've been through it before. But so it's wanting to look to see if a major jihad success is at poor possible. So here's a major jihad. So the purpose is established as Islamist rule. The target has got to be a non-Islamist rule Muslim country, and it's got to have 5 more cells than troops. So that's what it's got to have a success possible. Right? Special all cells in target country go out to. Yeah, that's telling you how you do it, how you go about it. And the reason it's got to be poor, it doesn't say it's got to be poor here, because I think it can be fair and you can still succeed. Because you've got to have 2 successes. Is that right? 1 success if you've got Bouzi's regime. Governance from poor to Islamist rule. No, maybe it needs to be poor. It doesn't actually say it needs to be poor there. I mean, on the flowchart there, it's saying, is a major jihad success at poor possible? So maybe you can't do it unless it's poor. Right, we'll probably work that one out as we go. So, however, it needs to have 5 more cells than troops. Now, and it needs to be poor, right? Well, the only place they've got cells is here. They've only got 4. So, I mean, if they did have 5, they would have 5 more than troops there. But however, this is already Islamist rule, and that's what this operation is trying to do, is create an Islamist rule in the country. So it's not going to look there. That's why it's looking at poor. It's looking at poor possibilities. But you can see there's 3 poor countries there, no cells in them, so we can't do a major jihad at poor, right? So that's a no. So is funding tight? Funding is the box up here, and it starts at ample. Is that one moderate? I think so. You've got ample, moderate, tight. It's not tight. If it's along there, it means that they're struggling to get cells out and they've lost a lot of funding. So that's a no. Now, is there a cell in good or fair Muslim where GSP is jihad success possible? Right, okay, and I might talk about awakening reaction markers, and that's our thing. These events, if it's got to be dagger like that dagger, that's a base game, and if it's got to be double dagger thing, that's just for the awakening. That's these priorities anyway. Yeah, we'll work that out, right? So what we looking at now? Is there a cell in good or fair Muslim where a jihad success is possible? Well, no, we can skip by that, but just quickly, we need to know what a jihad is possible. Well, it needs to have, this time, it's going to worsen the government, so it's not taking Islamist rule, it's just worsening governance. It's worsening it to poor to be able to then maybe do a major jihad later on. So it needs to be a Muslim country, not Iran, and it needs to contain cells and not under Islamist rule. So, I mean, this is the only place they've got cells, which is also under Islamist rules, so that's not any good. So, there's not a cell in a good or fair Muslim country where a jihad success is possible. So, that's a no as well. Right, and then we move on. Right, poor Muslim. So, we're looking for a poor Muslim country with 1 to 4 more cells than, and that is troops and militia. It tells you down there, T and M, troops and militia. Now, we're only going to see troops at the moment because militia don't kick in until awakening. So, poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than troops where jihad success is possible. Now, I don't know, I'm working out the difference between the two. Cell and good or fair. Yeah, okay. So So that's if it's in a good affair, it's going to prioritise that first. However, if it can't do that, it's going to look at poor Muslim countries, but they need to have more cells. And there must be a reason for that. But anyway, again, there's not cells in any of the poor Muslim countries. The only place we've got cells is here. I mean, you should be able to look at this quickly and say that, look, the cells are there. We can't do any of these things, right? And zip through it. But I suppose I'm just trying to explain it as best I can. So, poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than where jihad possible? No. Is the funding moderate? Well, I've already said no. The funding's ample. Okay, so that's a no as well. Is there a cell available? Yes, there's plenty of cells on the track there. And we've got access to them all. Wherever that marker is, it's below and left of that where you can access any cells. So we've got access, they've got access to all the 11 cells. It goes the opposite for the troops. Whatever there and to the right, they can access all the troops. So we've got access to 11 troops. They've got access to 11 cells, right? Okay, so the cells are available. Yes, so it's going to do recruit, right? So it's going to recruit some cells from the track into some countries. So, right, so how do we deal with that? Recruit. Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there might be something on BGG that just highlights the solo side of things. I might have a little look for that. Rather than, because the solo side of things is slightly different. I mean, the flowchart should take care of it all and what's on it, but... Okay, so we're going to recruit. They're wanting to recruit. I could open it up at that page anyway. And, like, because looking at remember, this is for 2 players, although it's still used for the solo. But there's probably 2 or 3 slight little differences in amongst these. Yeah. Okay. So on this it says purpose is to place cells. Target any countries with cells or cadres. So the target needs to have cells or cadres, right? We've not got any cadres. Cadres get placed when the last cell gets removed from a country. So the only place we've got cells is Afghanistan. So it looks like if we're going to do recruit, it's going to recruit in Afghanistan. So, and then if rec number, roll that or less for success. So, ignore, yeah, that's if, there's one down here in the Philippines that's got the rec 3 number, recruit 3. So if it's not got that though, and hang on, no, it's not a regime change, no, sorry. If regime change, automatic success, right. If rec number, roll that number or less for success, ignore governance. Yeah, but if we're going to roll... Right, hang on a second. Yeah, okay, so just try to get myself started here. So to recruit, I need to recruit in a country that's got cells already, and then it's not automatic. You need to roll dice. It must already have a cell. Regime change. Right, but what if it's Islamist rule? So what am I missing here? For each successful roll, or because it's Islamist rule, does that mean it's just automatic? Right, well, it should tell you that somewhere, Grant. Right, yeah, so at the beginning, unlike US operations, jihadist operations can use any card regardless of a target's country's governance. However, almost all jihadist operations require die rolls. Card value determines the number of dice rolled. Well, our card value is 2. Or their card value is 2. So, and then the governance determines the success range of the rolls, right? So if I'm talking about the only place I can recruit in is Afghanistan, its governance is Islamist rule, so it's not if that was a poor country, it'd be 3. I would need to roll a 3 or less. So then it carries on. If it's good, I would. If it's good, I would. Hang on. If the country was good, only a 1 would succeed. If it was fair, a 1 or 2 would succeed. And if it was poor, a 1, 2, or 3 would succeed. Right. And then the next bit says, Grant, Islamist rule. Automatic. All rolls succeed. So we don't need to roll. So it is going to be able to recruit into Afghanistan, and we don't need to roll dice. Okay? So that's what it's saying there. And just going back to the recruit thing. No, I think we read all we need to read from that, Grant, do we not? And then each success, we place 1 available sweeper cell, remove characters. Right, so the number's 2. Sorry. The number there is 2, meaning that's the number of dice we would roll. And the number we need to succeed on the 2 dice is either, if it's good, it's got to be a 1. So you'd roll 2 dice. If any of them were a 1, you would get a cell. And if it was fair, you'd roll 2 dice, and any of them were a 2, you would get, and 3. But here it's automatic. We've got 2 operations points. So my guess is 2 cells are going to get placed in there from the track, right? That's what I believe is going to happen. I'm just wanting to check these, the charts. I don't think I need to look any further than that, though, Grant, do you? Because you don't need to find any priorities here. So here is where you would look at priorities, and this is recruit/travel to. So if we had multiple options here, we would look at these priorities, I think. And the first one is non-Islamist rule. The second one is Pakistan. But the thing is, it's only, that's the only place we can recruit anyway, isn't there? Yeah, because it's got to be a country that has a cell already. Yeah, I don't think you need to bother here. Yeah, I think the fact that the first priority is not Islamist rule is because it's rather spread elsewhere, But that's fine. Right, so they're going to recruit there. Recruit. Yeah, I suppose. Hang on. You would then come across to here. So we get to recruit. Give me a sec. Right. Okay. I went away and see on the computer there to see if there was anything regarding the solo rules, and I'm just looking at this stuff that I've first looked at, which I've obviously printed out. Rules, reference, and clarification. Somebody's done this. I think it was Christopher. I think. Jihadist bought 1. Jihadist bought 2, and then it's got. What's the difference there then? Jihadist bought 2. US bought. Anyway, I reckon this might be useful just to keep an eye on this. Yeah, I mean, it's try to keep you straight here. Got to remember radicalisation. If they've got any ops left, they'll always do that, which will come to. It tells you there, US associated events are never triggered, and there's the one that says US cannot win by removing cells. Right, so that must be the case then. When the last egg is depleted, US is if they have less than. Okay. Right, okay, so I'll try and keep an eye on these as well then. Looks like they're pretty useful. Why has it got. It's just a copy of it. Maybe it was a different printing of it or something. Okay. I think it's that one that I need. Yeah, I'll just keep that like that. Right, okay. So where were we? So we're gonna recruit, yeah. yeah, coming back. So you would generally go across here, but I mean, it's going to recruit in Afghanistan because it's the only place it can go. But if there was other options, it would pick the poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than troops in militia, where just GSP, and then if auto recruit with best jihad DRM, then it would go good Muslim, then go fair Muslim, best GRM, non-Muslim, and then poor Muslim and best jihad DRM. And it's just taking you through the options. And then if you needed priorities there, you would look down here. I think that's how it is. But the bottom line is they can only go where in the countries with cells. Now, the fact we had 2 of them, though, yeah, and it would rather have Islamist rule as the last option. You know, it says it's got it there. I would prefer not to put it there because obviously I think they've done what they need to do there. You know, I'm just thinking if we had 2 to recruit here and there was 2 options, that's what's concerning me. Well, maybe just worry about that when the time comes, Grant. If we had more than one option right now, you know, would one go somewhere else because that's the last option, and then the other one go in there, or would they both go? I guess that's. I remember posting a question, actually, on BGG back when I was first playing this bot, and it was disregarding the priorities side of things. I think. You know what? We'll come to that. Right, okay, so I think there's going to be 2 cells are going to recruit in Afghanistan. So now they've got 6 cells there. And that's going to be that card. That's going to be done. That's it. Right, I'm going to leave the card there because I'm going to move the 2 cards away when, you know, and that then triggers that they played 2 cards. Okay, so what's the next card? So you had a second card, and hang on, they've done that. They didn't play the event. Yeah, that's fine. You're fine, that. Right, so this is a 3 ops cost. It's a jihadist card, Lebanon War. Israeli Hezbollah flare-up. So it says the US discards a random card, -1 prestige, place a cell in a Shia mixed country. Yuck. Okay. That's bad. And that just says place a cell, and that's different. These are the things that you've got to, because this isn't recruiting a cell. I'd like to see that written where it tells you in the rules. I'm sure it's going to tell me, because the last time we were trying to recruit a cell and it needed to go in a country that already has a cell or a cadre, but that just says place a cell. So you know where I might find that. Hang on. Right, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it is in the rules. I went and just double checked in BGG, and when it says place. You're not recruiting it. It just automatically gets placed. So this can go anywhere. But I mean, the card does say, what is it? Place a cell in a Shia mixed country. But I suppose if we were thinking it was recruiting, then it would have to be in a Shia mixed country that had a cell already, or a cadre. But that's not the case. Place a cell. The wording's different. I had a feeling it said that in the rules somewhere. They were explained that was a different thing from recruiting, but I mean, it doesn't use the words recruit there either, Grant, so it might be that's suffice to deal with. So this is pretty bad. Lebanon War, card 86. Where are we? Well, I'm on that page. There's a big bit of text. I don't know. Maybe you're going to be here for a long time if you keep reading through these events. Well, this event at least is triggering. So, Lebanon War, 2006. In the midst of Israeli operations in Gaza, sparked by the kidnapping of an Israeli soldier by Hamas, Hezbollah conducted a strike in the Lebanese-Israeli border that captured 2 more. Israel responded with a ground invasion of Lebanon and heavy air bombardment of Hezbollah command facilities and other Lebanese infrastructure. Effective Hezbollah tactics against Israeli forces' inability to stop Hezbollah rocket attacks into Israel, and footage of the further destruction of Beirut combined to cast Hezbollah as resistance heroes to Sunni and Shia Muslims alike. So there we go. Well, I kind of like to read through them myself, but it is going to add a lot, Grant. So we'll see. So discard the card at random. Okay, well, I mean that's straightforward. I think. I'm just going to have to. I'll just shuffle my cards and pick one at random. I mean, I've not even looked at the cards we've got. So. Shuffle. Right, and we'll just take that one off the top. Right, here we go. Right, well, it was a 3, which is bad. But, however, it was a thing card. What do you call it? Jihadist card. Martyrdom Operation. Play if a non-Islamic country is a cell. Yeah, thing is, though, play if a non-Islamist rogue country has a cell. Well, to be honest, there's going to be a cell now, isn't there, somewhere? I'm just thinking if we were get to play that before they got a cell in play, we would be able to avoid the event triggering. However, they've discarded that, so I'll put that up there. So that's going to be my discard pile. And if any cards get removed, I'll put them further afield. Right, so that's the first part of that card, which wasn't good. The next part's not good either. So -1 to our prestige. So we now go from being in this +1 high US prestige down to medium where we're not getting anything. It's no benefit, no negative though, but until you get down to the low. But anyway. And then place a cell in a Shia mix country. Okay, so right, there's tables that deal with this as well. I think we just need to find there's a random Shia mix country. I think that's probably what we need. Which means that's what it says, place a Shia mix country. Yeah, and the card doesn't give me any info on the event instructions table. Card 86 isn't there, so that's straightforward. So we're going to roll 3 d6s, add them up, and and some of these charts weren't. These have all been updated as well. It was hard in the. I think if we were in the base game, you know what? I'm not going to. Well, actually, is it not in here? No. Yeah, it is actually. Shia mix. There's random Shia mix country. This is the old one. So 3 to 4 would be Turkey. You're only rolling. No, you're rolling 3 dice there as well. Well, it's different anyway. Okay, but I said I was going to stick with the new stuff anyway, so we're going to roll 3 dice and put a cell in one of these countries. Okay? Right, and I've got... what am I rolling? 3 dice? Yeah, 3 dice. Right, I've still got my little dice tray. I should probably leave that in a bit though. Huh? Right, okay. Let me move the camera. Yeah, okay, I've got my little tray that I got from my last game. So 3 dice and total them up. So what's that? 10. 10. Random Shia mix country. 10 is going to be Iraq. Okay, so that's where the cell's going to go. Okay, so not good. There's a poor adversary country. We take 1 cell from the track and put it in Iraq. And that's it. So that's that card done. Yeah, and it doesn't. We don't remove that card, even though we played this. And we played this as an event, but it is a jihadist card. If this had been on a unassociated card, we would also now have put 3. Well, actually, you can't put 3 reserves. I don't think there's unassociated cards with 3. I don't know. If there is, you would put 2 in, wouldn't you? Right. So these are now discarded, and now I'll just do it that way. That seems like the best way. And then that's the jihadist turn. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's their first phase. So our cards. Let's just lay them out, I think. Right, okay. Well, I quite like my hand, I think. I mean, as much as I know about it anyway. So I've slightly moved this down and these 2 down. These are Islamist cards we've got, the jihadist cards we've got, sorry. And I've moved these down because these are not playable at the moment. And that's what we want to look at, to be able to try and use them for the ops. Remember, these are not going to benefit us at all if played for the event. I don't think so anyway. Whether that's maybe, I don't know, it's possibly not true. Well, the first one there, if we were to play this for the event, the thing is, it's them that's going to benefit. They are going to draw 2 cards, we're going to get -2 prestige, and it's going to shift an ally to neutral. So 3 bad things are going to happen there. But to play this card for the event, or for it to be played for the event, there needs to be cells. Play if any cells are in a regime change country. There's no regime change countries. So that can be played. I can play that for the 3 ops, and we're going to get to, it'll go to discard. It won't get removed from the game. It will go to the discard, but I've already said that it's unlikely it's going to come back. Now, this one's the same. Play if a cell's in a regime change country. US randomly discards 1 card. It's only 1 op, but I can play that without any effect. And also this one, Adam Gadan. Play if the first card of the jihadist action phase in a cell is available. So, this only triggers if it's played as the first card of the jihadist action phase. And that's how I'm reading that. So it doesn't work when we play it, I think. It would recruit in the US with the second card succeeding in rolls 1 or 2 and ignoring any US event, which is horrible. So I mean, they could put a cell in the US with that card. Unfortunately, I can keep that throughout, and that's never going to be playable, is it? Play a first card of jihadist action phase and a cell's available. And I checked every number on all of the cards I've got, just in case there's any special instructions, and there's not for any of these cards. So that's good. These 2 would be playable, so I probably don't want to play them. This one, Test Lebanon, shifts Syria to adversary and worsen its governance 1 level, but not to Islamist rule. Shift Syria to adversary. Oh, Syria's actually already adversary. Syria's fair adversary. So what does that say again? Test Lebanon. Well, that's fine. Lebanon's a Muslim country, so yeah. So test that and then shift Syria to adversary and worsen its governance 1 level. Worsen its governance. Yeah, but not to Islamist rule. Yeah, so it would actually become poor, wouldn't it? It's that adversary, but it would become poor. Right. And then the other card that's playable is Opium. Play if Afghanistan has a cell, well, it's got 6 cells. Place 3 more cells there. Then if it, at Islamist rule, place all available cells there. So if I play that, Afghanistan's just going to get all the cells. And I'm not 100% sure if that's really, really bad for us. I suppose it is, because then the cells are going to start travelling about, I think. I think that's what's bad about that. Anyway, okay, so there. But, I mean, I want to take advantage of probably, I feel like I want to play this to take advantage of it because we are wanting to try and regime change in Afghanistan. I think that's what probably everybody tries to do at the beginning of the game, because the beginning of the game it's all set up like this. You don't know what cards you're going to get, but I mean that's what I've always tried to do. My guess is most of the videos you're going to watch on this game are probably going to try and do the same. So we want regime change, but if I play that card to do it, that's it. No. If I play that card to do it, right, and here this is in the rules, I have the choice of doing the event first or doing the operations first. So if I'm a regime, I don't think I can do it just now anyway. I think I need troops first, don't I? But if it was a case where I could regime change, I think what I'm allowed to do is play the event first, and then we look at the event and say, right, it's unplayable. So that's that then scrapped. Then we use that for the operations to create a regime change in Afghanistan. And I don't think that then goes back and could trigger the event. I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me know if it's not. I'm pretty sure I've read that somewhere. I get the option in what order they go. Okay, let's quickly look. Closing in on an hour, and we've not done an awful lot, have we? But yeah. This, Grant, you've explained all that before. This is how it is. And anybody, I should probably say that at the very first video when I'm setting things up. This is going to be a long playthrough unless something happens that I'm not enjoying the game, or it's not triggering me, or I've got a new game and I just leave it lying on the table. I have been guilty of that, but that's not my intention. I'm keen on getting this moving. So, and 3 decks, 120 cards to get through. Yeah. Okay, so the 3 US cards we've got. The door of Jihad was closed. So these are, well, not necessarily playable, Grant, just because they're US events. So it says Jihadist randomly selects from hand each Jihadist card play this turn. So it's going to, if this is a 2-player game, your opponent would have to randomly select the 2 cards that it's got to play. That's quite cool. But however, there's a 1-player instruction here which says, on Jihadist action phases this turn, non-US events are not playable. So, I mean, that's really good if he happens to draw 2 non-US events, then they're not going to be playable. He's just going to use them for ops. So it's pretty good event, I think. It's got this lapsing bit because I think it stays in play until their next action phase. It says, it's on Jihadist action phases this turn. That's, well, playing this early in the turn is far better. Okay. That means for the rest of the turn, they're not going to be able to play any events, because they won't play US events anyway. I mean, it still means that they're going to use it for operations, and if it's an unassociated event and they can't play it, no, they don't get to. No, it's when they play the event they get to store the ops as reserves, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Right, and then the last 2 cards are Predator, remove a cell from a Muslim country, not Iran. So that just says remove, and I think this is the same as, we've got an operation that can, what is it? Disrupt, which removes cells. Mind you, that does say remove cell. That needs to have at least 2 troops. I think that's different. I think this is the wording, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it in the rules. Because that just says remove a cell from a Muslim country, and because the disrupt operation needs to have a non-Muslim country, but it also needs to have 2 troops, I don't think Predator needs to have 2 troops. Because it just says remove a cell from a that's a Muslim country. The other one's a non-Muslim country. So yeah, so it's got to be different. Okay. And then third one is play as Somalia or Sudan is under Islamist rule. It's not. So this is not playable as well, actually. Set it to poor. Oh. Well, see, that'd be a card to maybe keep, wouldn't it? Because Somalia starts with a besieged regime, which I want to say maybe makes it a good target for Putin cells. If I recall, if I think we'll find that cells might travel there because it's got a besieged regime. Oh, this isn't. This should be something, shouldn't it? Right, have I missed that? Somalia should be tested, shouldn't it? From the beginning. I think I've maybe just missed that. Somalia, besieged regime. Alright, okay. Does it? No, it doesn't say it's. I thought any kind of counter in it has to test it. Maybe that's not the case. Hang on. Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at page 6 here, initial tests. Because, like, you'll notice that not all the countries out there have got a governance. And not all the Muslim countries have got governance, and not all the non-Muslim countries have got their posture set. The only one that's set is Israel in the non-Muslim countries, because it's always hard. And I suppose the US, but that's a different thing. But the rest of them haven't been tested yet. And some of the Muslim countries haven't been tested for the governance. But Somalia, I thought, should have been. So anyway, it says 4.9.4 on page 6, initial tests. So it says you roll for governance if a Muslim country, or posture if a non-Muslim country. Whenever a country whose governance or posture is not yet marked, which is an unmarked country, is selected as the locale or target of an operation, including a failed travel operation, or has a cell or plot placed in it by an event, or is subject to test by event text. Well, okay. So, I mean, these are all set at the start anyway. I mean, this has not got anything in it either, Grant, and it's been tested. So yeah, I dare say we're not going to. Somalia has not been tested yet until we either target it with an operation, or somebody targets it with an operation, or it has a cell or plot placed in it by an event, or it's subject to a test by an event text. Well, it might say test Somalia, you know. Okay. So yeah, going back to this card. This is what I was thinking. This is a really good card, but Somalia or Sudan is not under Islamist rule, and that's what needs to play this card. But it's really good because it takes it out of Islamist rule and sets it back to pure neutral. So it's a really good card, but you know, it's a good card to keep maybe. But remember, we can keep one card at the end. So I might keep hold of that unless I'm struggling with these and I need to get rid of one of them. Then we might just have to use it for the ops, I suppose. But who knows? The turn might play out and we might end up with Somalia and Islamist rule. I wouldn't have thought it's going to go that quick. Let's hope not. Right, so what are you going to do, Grant? You're coming up to an hour and we could do just stop in about an hour. So at least get one phase in each. Right, so I want... Well... Yeah, the thing is, do I just want to play this? Well, you've got two cards to play though. I could play this, and I could play this because it's not going to trigger. Right, so how do we set Afghanistan up to be able to overthrow it and become what is it we want to do? A regime change. Right, so for probably zooming out again, Grant. So for a regime change, if we want to take it out of Islamist rule, bear in mind we've got two cards in our hand that would trigger if it becomes a regime change. But anyway, so the purpose is to overthrow Islamist rule and create an ally. Target, it needs to be an Islamist rule country. Right, special. US must be hard. So we are hard. And use 3 ops. Alright, okay, so no, we don't need the troops there. The troops actually come. So deploy 6+ troops, all cells to active, shift to ally, roll governance, place green regime change marker, roll for prestige. And it's a bit scary rolling for prestige, but then it could work. So, okay. Right, so are you convinced that if you use this card, I need to be sure that I can do what I said I'm going to do? Because if I use this card to do the regime change in Afghanistan, and then if this then event gets looked at, and then it sees that it's a regime change country, it's going to trigger this event. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure. Let's have a little look in the rules. Would this just be in the solo side? No, I don't think so. Right, give me a sec. Right, okay, so page 8 here. So this is playing cards for operations. Triggering the other side's events. Play of a card for operations that has an event associated with the opposing side immediately causes the event to occur. The side playing the triggering card chooses whether the event or the operation occurs first. If, at the moment that the event is to occur, the event is blocked or has a precondition that is not met, the event does not occur. Excellent. Right, that covers it. So I can play this and say we're going to trigger the event first. There's no regime change country. The event gets ignored. Play this for regime change in Afghanistan, and there we go. Good. Okay, so I think... I don't know if this... I think it's maybe... I don't know if this is wise or not. Lapsing. Is there little counters for these? I mean, I could just leave the card lying about. I think there's counters for... You're meant to put in... No, this is a lapsing card. I guess this is where these are meant to go, Grant. Down here, aren't they? But that's fine. I'll just leave it lying about somewhere if I'm going to use it. I don't know if there's a little... There's events in play that go up into this box here as well. But I think sometimes you're better directly putting them into the country that's involved. Oh, hang on. Here's lapsing. Oh yeah, because we're going to use these. Alright, there must be a marker for this then. That came out. This must have come out with Awakening. Because you're meant to use these lapsing boxes for these countries, aren't you? I mean, I'm using them for the cards, but... So my guess is there's probably... Oh, you know what? I don't really need... Yeah, I can see there's lapsing markers. So my guess is there's one that says lapsing, the door of Etihad was closed. So, yeah. I'm not going to bother with that, as long as I know what I'm doing, I think. I think I'm going to play this, though. I mean, it's a 3 ops card, though, Grant, you know. But for the rest of the turn, none of the events are going to trigger. And he's still got 7 cards in his hand. So yeah, I'm going to play this. So my first action is going to be this. So we're playing 1 player. So on Jihadist action phases this turn, non-US events are not playable. Right? So that's going to sit somewhere. You know what? I'll put it there, just at the side of their card to remind me. So none of the events in the rest of this turn that they draw are going to be playable. Okay? Right, and then for my second... I mean, this does mean that this is then going to be playable, isn't it? Play if a cell is in a regime change country. I mean, unless you can work your way to get rid of all the cells, which is unlikely. US randomly discards one card. That's not so good, but see, that's the thing. I could put it off. I wonder if I put that off and use this first for one ops. I mean, I could just chuck it into the reserves, couldn't I? And then next turn, do this. And then that covers that. Is that? Yeah, I think I could maybe take the chance with that. Well, what could I be doing with one ops? Right, well, the numbers for us for ops are... yeah, if I'm only using one ops, I'd need to be targeting a good country, and there's no good out there. So yeah, let's take a chance with that then. Let's take a chance with that, and then for my second play, I'm going to put this one ops into the reserves. And it says, play if a cell is in a regime change country. There's no regime change countries, so that's not going to trigger. I'm going to get to put one into the reserves. Like that. Okay, so now, you know, when I use if I use a 1 or a 2 ops card, I can get 2 or 3 out of it. Because 1s are no good to me just now, because I've no good countries. Okay, and then, like I say, this doesn't trigger, so this just gets discarded, and then that's me. Okay, that's an hour and 7 minutes. That's way, yeah, I know. We only had one phase each, but so hang on, that's still not playable, and that's not playable. The rest are, yeah. Oh no, that's not playable. That's like I said, yeah. Sorry, that's not playable. That's not playable. That's never going to be playable when it's in my hand. That's my take on that. Anyway. Right, okay. I'm going to take a break for now. I would like to hope I can get back and do another bit later once I've had something to eat. And tomorrow, I've got the day free. I've got a few things I'm going to have to do as well, but I do have the day sort of to myself. So I'm hoping to get into this a bit more. Okay, well, we'll see what happens, and hopefully get back later for another part. Okay, cheers.